Good morning and happy Thursday. Your boy Hostel Yogi coming at you from Kopangan, Thailand. I trained really heavy yesterday. I trained back in a manner that I have not for quite some time. And I went to bed a little bit sore, like always when you have some injury or some muscle strain, you wake up really stiff and really sore. So this exercise, this practice is going to be inside. I just rolled straight out of bed, put my headband on, and decided I would record a live for you because I'm getting a lot of questions about back pain, specifically lower back pain. A lot of us suffer from lower back pain. I typically don't, but I haven't trained in the way that I trained yesterday, and this is why my back is complaining. But this will apply not just to people who are training. This practice will be beneficial for anyone suffering from lower back pain. You don't have to have props, but they help. So if you have one or two blocks, you may have a book also. Have them handy. Also, if you have available, if you don't, you might want to purchase. You can take 2 tennis balls and wrap them in a thin sock. And you tie a knot on both ends. You tie a knot at the heel on one end of the sock. Then you put the 2 balls in, 2 tennis balls, and you tie a knot at the other end to keep them tight. This allows 2 balls to roll up and down the spine on either side of the spine on the erector spinae muscles. It's an easy and cheap way to cheat this kind of apparatus that you get. My mentor from the Inspiration Yin Yoga gave me these in my myofascial release class. So you don't have to have anything fancy. You can make it yourself at home. She also taught us how to make these. And if you don't have any of those available, perhaps you have a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball. The lacrosse ball is extremely hard material, so I don't know if you're going to use this right away. You may work up to this because there's a lot of pressure here. But if that's all that you have, there are ways to manipulate the weight of your body so you don't have so much pressure. The tennis ball is usually the first choice, especially if you're just starting out with any kind of myofascial release or any kind of release of tension from back pressure with a ball. Again, most of the practice you can do without props, so don't be discouraged if you don't have them. I'm traveling the world with props. I have a little toolkit, and just want to let you know these blocks, they fit well in the toolkit there because they are 1 inch less wide than the standard block. They're 3 inches instead of 4. So 1.5 of these is 2 of a regular yoga block. It's great for travel. So if you have props, you will leave them close by so that you can reach them, so that they're accessible. Let's start off today on our back because the issue is in the back, right? Normally these pop-up classes, there's no fills, no fillers, no fluff. It's just a straight practice. But today, because of the way my back feels, let's start just in a Shavasana. Let's start out because the bed is so contoured to the body that the back tends to have an arch in it. Lying flat on the ground allows the lower back muscles, the lumbar spine, to relax. There may be tense tightness or pain in the lower back when you just start to lay like this. If that's the case, you may want to lay like this every morning when you wake up for 5 to 10 minutes, and every night before you go to bed, 5 to 10 minutes. If you're under the guidance of a medical practitioner, follow them as opposed to what I'm saying. I'm not in the medical field. I'm just a yogi. I can only go off of my studies of the anatomy of the body and of my own personal experience. But this is what works for me. Laying on the ground 5 to 10 minutes before you go to sleep, and again when you wake up. This relaxes the lumbar spine because it tends to get really tight and it curves even more, a lordotic curve. So let's just place our right hand on our stomach, left hand on the heart. And let's bring our awareness to the breath. How is your breath today as you've just arrived on your mat? Is it short and choppy? And perhaps it's long and smooth. This has to do with where we're at in our day, morning, noon, or night. Also the challenges and the thoughts that we have throughout the day. The smoother and the longer, the more drawn out your breath is, the calmer the mind will be no matter what you're doing. And this does not affect your performance in a negative way. It's quite the opposite. The calmer you are, the better you perform in any situation. While we're lying here, let's just check in with the body by making a mental scan. We start with the toes. Maybe you wiggle your toes just so you can feel exactly where they're at. And you make a mental scan starting with the toes, working your way up the soles of the foot, around the heel, up the Achilles tendon or the back of the ankle. And like a photo scanner, on a scanning machine, just picture yourself scanning the entire body part all the way up to the crown of the head. And on your way up, notice any position of tension. Notice any point of tension, a position of resistance in the body. Just be aware of it so we can work through it later in the practice. And once you've made a mental scan of the entire body, now try to feel the whole body at one time, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Feel the body as a whole. Bring your awareness now to any point of tension. Where do you feel it? What is the first place that pops up in your mind? For me, my awareness goes straight to my lower back, to my lumbar spine, just above the tailbone. I don't feel an injury, it just feels extremely tight, very tense, and it's pulsating. Feel little pulses of energy in the lower back. This is my body telling me it needs some love, telling me to take it easy with it in the gym, and telling me to perhaps perform some therapy. So with that in mind, whichever place on your body that you feel it, carry that with you throughout your practice. Perhaps you make that your intention, to let go of that tension, to heal that area, so there's no longer a point of resistance there. Now, while we're at it, let's take our hands up overhead and make a nice, big, long stretch. Interlace your thumbs together and reach the opposite direction of your feet while you point your toes and just make a big stretch, perhaps the biggest stretch of the day. Hold it as long as you can. Body may start to shake. You may already be in a minor back bend even with this stretch. That's not the goal, but it may happen. Okay, we're going to release the toes, point the toes toward the knees or toward your head, stretching out the calves. And release, hands down by the side. We're going to lift the right leg, bend the knee. We're going to interlace our fingers, place our hands on top of the shin. If you have any tension in your back, you're going to feel this right away. We're on the right side, so you may feel a little bit more on the left side. Maybe in the SI joint, somewhere around the sacrum, or above the sacrum in the lumbar spine. Let's roll to the left a little bit. If you've had disc injury or disc herniation, be very, very gentle with your body here. If you feel pain at any time during this practice, make minor adjustments until you're out of pain. And if you cannot get out of pain, get out of the pose. We're all adults here and responsible for our body. Let's take care of it. We're going to need it a long time. Taking care of the body starts by listening to it. It sends signals in the form of tension, or if you let it progress, pain, or if there's trauma, pain. Let's roll to the right a little bit. Let's hug the knee in a little bit closer to the body. Roll back to the left. And to neutral. And step the right foot down. Step the left foot up. Send the right leg long. Maybe readjust your pelvic floor. And we're going to bend the left leg now, interlacing the fingers, grasping just below the knee somewhere comfortable, and pull the leg in toward the body. You may feel this on the right side in your lower back. You may feel all of the lower back. Let's rock to the right, slowly, gently, not too far. You're just warming up and loosening up the lumbar. Let's rock to the left. Back to the right, final time. To neutral, step the left leg down. Readjust the pelvis, send both legs long. Lay flat with your arms down by your side. I normally teach a progressive yin yoga experience. It's a deep stretch and a little bit deeper, a little bit more involved. This practice will be a little bit slower because the low back can feel very, very delicate, very fragile. If there's any trauma or pain, if there's any tension or tightness, and especially if you don't know what's causing it, you want to be very easy. So we will take it a little bit slower in this practice. There's no rush. This is your time. This is the time you set aside for yourself to practice and to ultimately make your health and your life better. So we're going to take both legs up, right leg first, left leg second. And before we grab them, we're just going to see how that feels. Rock to the left, back to neutral. Rock to the right. My arms are on the ground, stabilizing my body. Just going to take minor steps, minor adjustments to get into each pose. Now maybe we hold our hands on the ground and we lift the pelvis to the right, lift the pelvis to the left. Yet if there's a curvature, we're allowing the sacrum to kind of flatten out. That's a precursor to interlacing your fingers or grabbing your wrists around your knees. This will flatten it out even more, pulling the legs into the body. And again, if you feel pain, make minor adjustments until you're out of pain. If you cannot get out of pain, get out of the pose. We have a lordotic curve in our lumbar, some more than others. I have a lot. It's called the anterior pelvic tilt. My pelvis is tilted forward, which means my piriformis is tight, my glutes are tight. The pelvis is rotated forward because they're pulling it forward. The hamstrings are lengthened, and the lumbar spine is really curved. So if you've ever experienced extra curvature, or if your body has natural propensity, this is lovely to help straighten everything out and relieve all of the tension in the lower back. Let's rock to the left. And pull those legs in a little bit closer to the body if it's available to you. Coming back to neutral. Let's rock to the right. Coming back to neutral. Let's place the soles of our feet together. And so you'll feel this in the groin area. That's the bonus stretch, but we're still focused on the lower back. And by tilting the pelvis backward, by bringing the soles of the feet close to the body, hands are interlaced and on the outside of the feet. When we do this, and we pull the feet close to the body, we're posterior tilting the pelvis, decreasing the curvature, straightening out the lumbar, releasing any tension in the lower back. Also in the beginning of the erector spinae muscles, those really, really strong muscles that run up the spine that help to keep us upright when we're walking, standing, sitting. And again, let's rock to the left. Perhaps your left leg touches the ground. We just hang out here for a moment. You may also feel this in the outer left thigh when you rock to the left. This may help a little bit with any sciatica that you have. Come back to neutral. Let's rock to the right. While you're here, can you relax any tension that you feel? Besides where you're holding on to, can you let go of any other muscular effort that you don't need? And that's one of the prime objectives of YIN, to release unnecessary muscular tension. Coming back to neutral, we're going to go into a pose that may be familiar for many. This can be quite strong, so be easy with your body. Toes, feet, heels pointed towards the ceiling. Soles of your feet facing the sky if you're outside. The more you pull down with your hands, the more you're going to feel it in your lower back and in your hips. If it's too intense, you just take the weight off the hands by releasing some of your grip and let your feet rise up. If it's still too intense, you can place your upper thigh on top of your body, on top of your stomach or your rib cage. This will still have the same effect and not so deep. If you place it wide, you're working in the groin still. My hands are on the outside of my feet. You can place your hands wherever you like. Could be on the inside, could be gorilla arms over the toes. I quite like that one too. But I'll stay on the outside for now. Let's roll to the left. And let's roll to the right. Back to neutral. We're going to extend the leg, so we're going to work a little bit into the hamstring, because we don't want to do only lower back. Lower back pain a lot of times is not coming from the lower back itself, it's coming from an imbalance or too much tension, strain, or stress from another muscle group, usually in the legs. So let's go ahead and focus a little bit on the legs as well. Let's extend the right leg long, as tall as you can, send away from the body. Left leg is curved and we lean to the left. And see, my hamstrings are so tight, my legs shake when I extend them. And come back to neutral. And let's extend the left leg, which should naturally roll us to the right. You should feel it in your hamstring, maybe even leg. Come back to neutral. Let's just take another minute here. Let's switch the hands maybe to gorilla arms up over the toes. While our hands are here, let's straighten both legs a little bit. And coming back to center, releasing your grip, slowly lower the feet down. Perhaps you grab behind the back of the thigh and allow yourself to help your feet to the ground. So there's no abrupt movement in this lower back region. Slowly extend the left leg. Now the right. Place your hands down by your side, or they can go above your head for a mini shavasana or a rebound. The rebound is an opportunity to let the body settle back into its natural state. Gently bring the awareness back to the body. Let's wiggle your toes, maybe make some circles. Wiggle your fingers. And we're going to set up for a twist. We're already on the ground. I like how this feels. We're going to step the right foot over the left. Just a simple twist. I'm going to take the left hand on the right knee, and we're going to twist to the left. And this may be strong if you have any lower back pain, so be gentle with your body. And if you wish to stretch out the chest and the shoulder, you'll send the right arm long. This also acts as a little bit of extra leverage in the twist. You'll look to the direction of your right arm if you want to bring it into your cervical. Are you holding tension anywhere in your body unnecessarily? If you are, can you let it go? And the same could be said for your thoughts. Are you holding on to any unnecessary thoughts? If so, can you let them go? In the last few breaths here, perhaps we take that right knee a little bit closer to the ground, increasing the twist. This is a spinal twist. Also, you may feel it in your glutes, your piriformis, on the outside of your upper right thigh, and the IT band. And gently releasing and unbinding that leg. Come back to neutral, roll on your back slowly. Unstep the right foot. Level your pelvis and your sacrum and send your right leg long. Just a breath here, and then we go into the other side. Step your left foot on the ground. Step your left foot over the right. And you may feel this already in your glutes, the piriformis, and the IT band down the left side of your thigh. Take your right hand, you'll place it on your left knee, and you slowly roll to the right. You may hear some popping and some crackling. And if there's no pain, it's okay. Many people go and pay a chiropractor to do that for them. And if it's available to you, place your left arm long, away from the body, and look in the direction of your left arm. This helps to increase your twist and also to open up the chest and the shoulder. Each side is different. No two sides of the body are the same. We have one side that's tighter, one side that's more dominant. So I ask you again, is there any muscular effort, any tension that you're holding on to right now that you can release, that you can let go of? And the same applies to our life experience and the way we treat ourselves. Do you notice how you speak to yourself on a daily basis? I ask you, is there any of this self-talk, that rhetoric going on inside of your head, that you can let go of? Anything that does not serve you, that you're telling yourself on a regular basis, let it go. Last few breaths here, and maybe we take that the left knee and the right hand a little bit closer to the ground, increasing the twist. And look to the left a little bit more with your head, increasing the twist in the neck. And gently releasing the left leg, rotating back to neutral very slowly. Perhaps the hands go down by the side. You unstep your left foot, pick your pelvic area up, center it, send your left leg long, and we're going to take a little rebound here. In Yin Yoga, we hold the poses for time. And in so, when we come out of these long-held poses, there's a tendency to feel fragile or vulnerable. This is quite normal. It's correct. It means you have performed the posture or the pose in the right manner. And so we settle in a rebound to let the body settle back to its natural state. Gently bring the awareness back to the body. We're going to do a little myofascial release. If you don't have these special balls, you can use just a single ball. If you don't have any balls, you can use your fists just to suffice, but I highly recommend getting 2 tennis balls and tying them in a sock. We're going to step up onto both feet, and we're going to lift the pelvis up gently. If you have low back issues, be very easy with yourself here. This may be very intense. We're going to place these 2 balls underneath the sacrum, that flat, thick bone just below our lower back, right at the top of the glute muscles. And we're just going to start with the glutes, actually, and just rock back and forth very slowly. If you find a position of resistance or where you're holding tension, perhaps you want to stop there and feel that out. If you don't have balls, you can take your fists and you can place your fists underneath of you and kind of use your knuckles, and the knuckle will go into the muscle, and then you just work the muscle around the knuckle rather than moving your hands. It's going to have a similar effect. The balls are more mobile, and it's also not living tissue, so I highly recommend getting some of the tennis balls. Now we're going to move the balls up and place them on the sacrum again. We rock a little to the left and a little to the right before moving up a little bit higher. Now we're at the top of the sacrum and the beginning of the lumbar. I'm going to keep sliding down. Let's rock back and forth a little bit. Working now into the lumbar. Let's just come up on our feet, raising the pelvis off the ground, and move the blocks a little bit higher so we don't end up all the way at the door by rolling off the mat. And the hands can be down by your side, helping to stabilize the body. And let's just roll back and forth. I come off of my lumbar, so I'm going to readjust the balls back down low again because that's where I feel it the most. Now I'm going to let my butt touch the ground, and I'm going to lift my butt up again. And I really feel that in the lumbar. I let my butt or my sit bones touch the ground, arching the back, increasing the curvature, and now I take the crease away while the balls are on the sacrum. So this is not only a massage, it's also a stretching technique for the lumbar spine in hopes to loosen it up and relieve any tension. And down, up. Now I'm going to just roll back and forth in a broader stroke in an area about that distance. So we're going to come to the bottom of the sacrum, and I'm just going to roll inch by inch or centimeter by centimeter all the way up until I get to the top of the lumbar. If you have a really big curve in your back, you may want to take the block, place it under you, and place the tennis balls on top of the block if it's not strong enough with it on the ground. And you can roll this way as well. This is going to be a lot stronger for many. So feel it out, play with it, listen to the body. I'm going to release that, remove the props, send the legs long. Again, coming to flat back, which is still a posture for lower back. And just see how that feels. And gently bringing the awareness back to the body. Can you feel the lower back has released some already? And here is a pose for anterior pelvic tilt, which is when the pelvis is tilted forward. Again, causing the psoas and the hip flexors, the quads to be shrunken and tightened, and to increase the curvature in the lower back. We're going to step both feet on the ground. You have 3 levels of height to the block. This is level 1, this is level 2, and this is level 3. So if you've never done this before, or if you're having low back problems, start with level 1. And you're going to just place it underneath the sacrum again, that flat, thick bone below your lumbar spine. And if this is okay for you, if it's intense, stay here. If it's okay, you'll send both legs long. This is one of my favorites to help correct anterior pelvic tilt. For me, because I've been doing this pose for a long time, I use 2 blocks, and it's okay for me. But just feel out, if you go to 2 blocks, maybe use 2 this height. For me, I'm going to use them like this. Start at the lowest. So I place 1 block flat on the ground. I place the second one on top of it. I extend my left leg first, and there's a really, really strong stretch in this area, in the hip flexors. I extend the right leg, and wow, I feel it. And this is what gets so tight, the psoas, the hip flexors, and the quads, and this is what causes the pelvis to tilt forward. And you see that when you tilt forward, you're increasing the curvature in the lower back. The lower back muscles shorten or tighten, and you have low back pain. If this is too intense, you'll place your hands above your head. This gives you a little bit of a back bend and takes some of the stress out of the upper legs. If you wish for more, you'll bring your arms down by your side. I like to place my palms up, just symbolically that I'm open to receive. I heard that somewhere and I quite like it. I'm certainly open to receive less back pain today. If you're with me on that, maybe you choose to put your palms up also. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. Do you notice that you're holding tension somewhere? If you are, maybe your shoulders are hunched up near your ears. Maybe you're trying to avoid some of the sensations in your upper legs, and you're trying to elevate your body or arch your back. Can you release those unnecessary tensions and just sit with the sensations in your leg and your lower back? This is one of the goals of Yin Yoga, to become comfortable when you're uncomfortable. And we're going to add a little bonus here. Like we did in the beginning of practice, you're going to bend your right knee, bring the leg in close to the body, extend your hands, interlace the fingers, grasp just below the knee, and gently pull the right leg toward the body. This is going to increase your stretch in all of these muscles here. It's interesting how lengthening these muscles here can reduce back pain here. We tend to look at our bodies as separate individual units, and that's not how it is. It's a whole. This entire organism is one whole. There are many functional pieces, but they are all parts of a whole. Let's go ahead and rock to the right a little. Not with the body, with the right leg. Just let the right leg fall out to the right a little bit. You notice now the stretch here. So we have the psoas, the hip flexors, the quads. We also might have a little bit in the upper groin. Maybe let the right leg fall out a little bit more, keeping the left foot stationary. Maybe pull the right leg into the body, closer to the body, even more. I feel this all the way down the left leg, the upper left leg. And let's hug the leg just a little closer to the body before we start rolling the leg back to neutral. And as we're in neutral, can you pull the right leg closer to the body here? You may find the left foot kind of slowly creeping up as you pull the right leg into the body. This is okay. Now you can either send your right leg long slowly, or you can hold your blocks and you can pick your left leg up and you can windmill the right leg down. I like to do it. It's an active release. Just make sure you're good and stable by holding your blocks. Now this may already be enough for you here. And perhaps you interlace your fingers and grab your left leg and pull it just a little closer to the body. Now working on the right hip flexors, the right quad. And let's pull the left leg in a little bit closer to the body. And let's let the left leg fall to the left a little bit, increasing the distance between the two legs. Let's let the left leg fall a little bit further away and actually pull it closer to the body at the same time. And it should be a really deep stretch in the right upper right leg. Let's come back to neutral with the left leg and take the left leg even closer to the body now. Squeeze it in a little bit more. You may even feel the right foot sliding up a little bit. It's quite all right. And a final squeeze into the body here for the last couple breaths. And gently release the leg. Stabilize yourself by holding your blocks. Take your left leg to the ground. Step on the left foot. Bring the right foot up and step on it. Lift your sacrum up off the blocks and slowly, gently lower your body back to the ground. This is a pose that sometimes you don't feel in the lower back until you come out of it. One at a time, lower your legs, send them long. Any sensations you have in your lower back, without taking a counter pose but going straight into the rebound, I invite you to sit with the sensations. The lower back can get really tense, really tight. And as we sit with it and we watch it, we can see it just slowly start to open up, to loosen up. It's a beautiful thing. If we're busy distracting ourselves from those sensations by doing a counter pose, we don't see the opening. We just try to distract ourselves from the sensations that are uncomfortable. Not pain, but discomfort. And we do the same in life all the time. Challenges arise, discomforts in our mind, and we get so busy distracting ourselves from these things that we never actually take care of them. If we do, we don't see how we did it in order to repeat the progress if we're distracted. And we're going to roll to our left side or the right. We're going to come up. Onto our hands and knees. And this is a cat and cow. It's not normally a yin practice, but since we're doing the lower back, we have already loosened and warmed everything up. Now just listen to your body, because this is a little more dynamic than the yin. Let's just do a yin version of a cat and cow. Breathing in and looking up. Breathing out, looking down, drawing your belly in, arching. Holding here, not holding your breath, just holding the posture, pushing the ground away from you. See the difference, notice the difference in your lower back. I didn't dare ask anyone to do this in the beginning of practice, because if you have lower back pain or issues, it might not be the best time to do it if you're not warm. But it would be a nice test to see the difference in how this feels now. You can move at your own speed. Could be fast, could be slow, but this is yin practice, so for me I'm moving extremely slow. Looking up, arching the lower back, looking down, rounding the upper back, flattening the lower back, pushing the ground away from me. And we're going to walk our knees a little bit closer to the hands, and we're just going to come back into a regular child's pose. You can take any child's pose you like, but I recommend this one for here, because when we lay on top of our knees, we're creating a little bit of a forward fold. And so this is going to finish off our lower back session. Because I have my mic in the way, I'm going to use a block so I'm not smashing it against the ground. But if you can get close to the ground, you may choose to use a block for your head also. Hands can go in front of you if you want to stretch out the shoulders. I find with the hands down by my side, I feel it even more in my back.